Great morning. Hello, replay viewers. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon what time you are joining us. What's up, y'all? Great morning. It's so good to hang out with you this morning. Lana, what's up, lovely? You already here. You said the moment you hop on, I'm there. What's up, beautiful? How are you? Welcome to today's broadcast. Our amazing replay viewers, listen, you guys are phenomenal and I appreciate you so much for joining us. If we have never met before, forgive me for looking down. Just one moment. If we have never met before, listen, my name is Demita McGee. And I am half of the beautiful team called Team McGee. My husband and I, we make up this beautiful team together, you guys. We co-own a company called Christian Business Academy Worldwide. And if you are looking at this replay, whether you have stumbled upon it or somebody shared it with you, let me tell you what we're doing. You guys, we are reviewing this book right here called Business Secrets from the Bible, Spiritual Success Strategies for Financial Abundance. The author is Rabbi Daniel Lapin. And listen, thank God you made it before everything was over. Thank God you made it. Because there are 40 secrets in this book. And guess what? We are on secrets number 40 today. And so I'm so proud of every single one of you guys that have joined us on this journey. Great morning, Ann. I see you. I'm so proud of every single one of you guys that have joined us on this journey over the last, it's been 2 months, you guys. And I enjoyed this so much. And the feedback that we've gotten is so good that, listen, we may do another book together. I used to want to lead book discussions, but I never really thought people would join me on them. What's up? I see you, Darren. He's on here with us this morning. Great morning. I love it. So, yeah, I didn't think anybody would really want to join him, so I would just read on my own. But this has been such a blessing to me, and I'm so grateful you guys have joined me on this journey reading this book. You pushed me in a way that I'm grateful for. And so I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Right now, what I am doing, we always go ahead and we tag some of our accountability partners. We tag our family. We tag our friends, those who are going on this journey with us. So that may be how you got in on this. Be grateful to the person who shared this. It really does mean that they care. That's the only reason that they did it. So thank you for hopping on with us this morning. As I said, we are on secret number 40. Secrets number 40. You guys did it. So proud of you. We are going to talk about today, finalize things with retirement tends to isolate you. We've talked about retirement all week. And so we're going to top off the morning, end up the book with the same thing. Great morning, LaSkaya. How you doing, Queen? Great morning. So let's go ahead and start out with prayer as we always do, and then we'll get right into it. So thank you so much, Lord. Thank you, Father, for allowing us to be a part of another day. God, we did it. We did it. You put something on our heart and we committed to it. You put the idea of just reading this together on our heart in your name so that we could be better stewards, so that we could be better entrepreneurs, better business owners, so that we could be better investors, so we could be better employees. God, we read this book specifically with you in mind. Our goal in reading it is to understand how to ensure that every business transaction we participate in, every single one, we do it with you in mind. That we understand the principles upon which you created business, the foundation upon which we're supposed to build and grow a company, build and grow a team, build and grow our finances. And God, you did exactly what we expected, and you even exceeded it. You have imparted wisdom into us in the last 2 months that we know we could have gotten no place else. And God, this morning, I, for one, am so grateful to serve you in this capacity. I just want to thank you for choosing us at such a time as this. We know that we didn't learn this just for ourselves. We know we learned this because you wanted to impart this information in us so that we could go and share it with others. God, thank you for using us as your vessels. Thank you for being our lighthouse so that people can know where to come so people can understand where the light really is. Thank you for allowing us to sail out into the kingdom and recirculate this information, recirculate this wisdom amongst your people. Thank you for giving us a heart to serve people the way you want them to be served. Thank you for giving us a heart to learn how important it is to focus on the needs of your other children in an obsessive manner. Thank you, God, for choosing us for such a time as this. We are ready for the assignment. In Jesus' name we pray. Great morning, Eugenia. And yes, Lord, please open up our minds so that we can understand whatever it is you have for us on today. Move me out of the way and take over. All right, let's dig in now. I can't forget that part. So you guys, once again, secret number 40, retirement tends to isolate you. For the last several days, this entire week, we've been talking about retirement in general and how it's just not healthy. That's what our conversation has been about. We've gone from, let's see if I can find kind of where it started. Let's see. It started with secret number 37, where he said that if there is no Hebrew word for something, then that thing doesn't exist. And that's how we started to talk about there's no Hebrew word for retirement. So it started there. Then we went to the fact that, okay, there's no Hebrew word for it, so it doesn't exist. And so we've created something that God didn't intend for us to do or for us to have. So we go from there. Because God didn't intend for us to have it, guess what happens? Retirement is unhealthy. It's a logical progression of information. Retirement is unhealthy. We find that people's health, actually mental health, physical health, we find that it starts to deteriorate in retirement. Oftentimes, our elderly are lonely. Great morning, sis. I see you, Tanisha. So we led from it doesn't exist in the Lord's language to now that we've created it, we created something that God never intended us to do. And as a result, we have a lot of people in an unhealthy state, right? And then because we're so preoccupied with it throughout our working years, throughout our careers, we start our career with retirement in mind. It still just blows my mind. I never thought about it, but we start our career with retirement in mind. And so guess what happens? Secret 39 told us that you can ruin today because you're so focused planning on bad things for tomorrow. One of the things that I did not do, and now we're talking about retirement, how it tends to isolate you, to wrap things up. One of the things that I did not do until recently was I started to look at how the book progresses. I started to pay attention to that. I started to look at the way that I just showed you these last 4 secrets, how they built upon one another, how it starts with if there's not a word for a thing in the Lord's language, then it doesn't exist. From how retirement doesn't exist in the Lord's language to, okay, we created it, but now it's unhealthy. Now we see the results of something God never wanted us to have in the first place, but we created it and it's unhealthy. Right? And not only is it unhealthy, we spent our entire lives, the next secret tells us, or it illustrates, we've spent our entire lives focusing on getting to a place that's unhealthy that God didn't even create for us. Right? And now we talk about how it keeps you by yourself, which is definitely not what God wanted. God put us in position to commune with fellow people. Like, we thrive in interaction. We thrive in relationship, and retirement tends to isolate. So one of the things that I would recommend is, as you look back through the book, like just kind of flip through the book and look at how the principles build upon one another. They really create this logical progression and this logical building of principles, like a foundation. If we think about the very first principle, he could not give us the rest of the principles until he got us to understand that everything that we're about to learn is not about us. In order for you to have this financial abundance that we're seeking using spiritual success strategies, then the first thing we had to learn was that God wants us to be obsessively preoccupied with the needs and desires of his other children. That's the very first secret. Everything builds upon that. That's like the first brick. And then he keeps laying them brick by brick. So one of the things I would encourage you to do, if you have actually read this book along with us, is look at how the secrets build upon one another. It's quite interesting, and I didn't start to identify that and recognize that until later on in this process. Okay. So retirement tends to isolate you. It says that he said it's an unfortunate truth about our society that many older people are very isolated, right? And we see this, and alone. Oftentimes our elderly are forgotten about. He said the majority of these people are retired. They may no longer have surviving family near them. Having retired, they have no coworkers, no professional network, and to fall back on. They don't even see customers every day. Now, this next part was so interesting, and I can relate. He said, do not underestimate the value of companionship with customers and what they provide. Some of my closest relationships in life are with valued regular customers, and others with whom I conduct regular business. Because I serve these people on a regular basis, I've grown to love them dearly and have remained close to them even decades later. Let me tell you how I know this to be true. Some of you guys have heard me talk about Miss Betty. Miss Betty is at one of the grocery stores here in my community, literally less than 3 minutes away. Miss Betty works at Jewel's. Now, if you live in the Midwest, you know that out of the grocery stores, Jewel is not the least expensive of our grocery stores. But if I go in the other stores, I don't get to see Miss Betty. And this is the amazing thing. She is so phenomenal with people. How did I first get introduced to her? I went in the store one day and I was having a really bad morning. This was a couple of years ago. This is probably about 3 years ago now. I was just having something was going wrong with the day. I don't recall what, but I wasn't having a great morning. And I was actually emotional, and I don't remember what was happening that day. So I go into the store, I go to the self-checkout lane to check out my stuff, and I hear this voice. Miss Betty has this deeper, raspier voice, right? And I hear this voice, and somehow or another, it shook me because she reminded me of my grandmother. Now, I had a really good relationship with my grandmother, my paternal grandmother, both of them, but my paternal grandmother, I was close to as a child. And she was so mean. Oh, my goodness. Most people, she just seemed so mean on the surface, and she wasn't always the kindest. But I had such a great relationship with her, right? And she passed away when I was a teenager. And when I heard Miss Betty's voice, it reminded me of my grandmother, and it was just what I needed that morning. And I remember walking over to her and saying, now she doesn't look like my grandmother, but she is much older, right? Much older. And she has this beautiful, dark, wrinkled skin, right? Just a pleasure to talk to. Beautiful smile and dyed auburnish hair. And I told her, and she was like, look at that. And since that day, we have talked every time I go into the store. What I did not know was that when my dad was diagnosed with cancer, it was hard for my mother to tell us. It was hard for my dad to let us know too. She told Miss Betty at the grocery store before she told us. And I didn't even know that my mom knew her. I had no idea. Later on at some point is when I found out that my mom is up here having conversations with Miss Betty just like me. And so I go into the store. I was like, Miss Betty, you know my mother. And she said, really? And so this is the point. You cannot underestimate the value of companionship and connection, even when it comes through customer relationships, y'all, because I'm her customer. My mom's her customer. And if you'll recall, see, Miss Betty, her number one customer, remember what we've learned in this book. Miss Betty's customer, her business associate, is Jewel Osco. And her responsibility is to make sure that her clients' customers or her customers' customers are taken care of. So her customer is Jewel Osco. We are Jewel Osco's customers. And so she takes care of us. You remember how that worked in the book much, much earlier? And she is like an angel to us. She is. She's just, I look forward to seeing her. And I didn't see her for like 2 weeks. And I was like, oh my goodness, where is Miss Betty? And this was during the season of COVID. So I was so concerned. And then all of a sudden I saw her and I was like, I've been looking for you. She was like, oh, I was just on vacation. And so you cannot underestimate the connections that you have with customers. That may be you. I see LaSkaya talking about when she worked at Walgreens, and the thing that she misses the most is the customers. I'm telling you, you may have customers or you may have clients and you don't even realize it's the connection to them that's so powerful. It's not just about the money. And so what retirement does is it tends to isolate you from all of that. And so he uses an example of how you can meet up with some people, you can play golf, but he was like, it's not the same thing, because if you don't show up one particular day, guess what they're going to do? They're just going to replace you with somebody else that they can find. It's different when it's a relationship that is built upon service. He said there's a completely different type of relationship, or it's just different. And so we have this dispensable mentality. Sadish and I were just talking about this yesterday, as a matter of fact. We've been taught that we are dispensable at jobs. You know why? Because there are some people that make you feel like that. There are some bosses, some managers, some companies that make you feel like people can just be replaced. We want this thing to be a well-oiled, fine-tuned machine. But the reality is, no, people are indispensable. They are. And the reason that it's so important to understand is that when you bring a certain skill set to your job, when you bring a certain set of values, when you bring a sick, in a good way, work ethic, you are indispensable. When you transition out of that job, they notice. When you are not there that day, they notice. People notice when you are not there. You are indispensable. So don't even accept the, oh, I'm dispensable. No, I want you to speak something different, because you are literally living a self-fulfilling prophecy. You will have what you say. You will. And so people make all the difference in a company. They make all the difference. See, there's a continuity of personnel that creates a continuity in your brand. You know, and Ann can tell you she has contractors, independent contractors who work for her. And so it's a lot easier to have the same independent contractors than to constantly have someone start and then stop and then somebody else start and then somebody else. Like, you got to retrain them all over again. There's time that you have to factor into that. So you are indispensable, especially when you're a person that does your job well. And as a business owner, you're definitely indispensable. As a business owner who has values, as a person who is really wanting to serve people to the best of your human ability, you're indispensable. Okay. He says researchers and employers all over the world, they've devoted so much time to trying to figure out how to retain staff. How do I keep my staff? The reason is because staff members that do not function efficiently. No. This applies to good personnel, of course. And the reason is because you want that continuity. Without that, it's almost impossible to build a brand, and it affects your bottom line. He gives such a great example of if you take a company like a Microsoft or you take a company like a Google, and realistically, you could get rid of everybody and you could have a whole new set of people at both of those companies. But do you realize that when you do that, now your company is completely different? You realize you got a completely different company, right? Because now you have to train people all up over again. You got to train them. And it's a different set of people that bring a different set of values. And so in order to build a brand, you need a level of consistency and continuity. People are not dispensable. Now, this only applies to good people, good staff. If you are a horrible worker, a horrible business owner, a horrible entrepreneur, you don't show up, you don't keep your obligations, you don't do those things, and guess what happens? You, my friend, are dispensable. Okay? And so what he goes through over this next part, it was kind of hard for my mind to adjust to it. He talks about, I won't say to adjust to it, it was just different. He talks about the essence of friendship and how we build relationships in our working world. And he talks about how friendship is broken down, but or how it's not broken down. He breaks down what he feels friendship truly is, what the relationships are. It's a series of favors and obligations and things like that. Ultimately, what he is pointing out is the relationships that we build when we're in the working world. Well, when you retire, you isolate yourself and you no longer build those relationships. You no longer build those relationships. And so what do you do? What do you do? The reality is you got to learn how to serve people, learn how to serve God's people, because retirement isn't even a real thing. It's something that we've created. It's something we've created. And I told you guys in detail at length yesterday that I think it is a financial thing. We talked about that at length yesterday, at length. Let's see. We got people chatting in the comments. Okay, so first things first. Laskaya said, I'm still here. I worked at Walgreens for 3 years. And the thing that I miss the most is my customers. I literally want to go back for the customers because I miss them. There's one lady I run into all the time. Her and her daughters, they were customers, but they feel like friends. We get excited when we see each other. That is so good. I love that. Listen, that's how I feel every time I go into the Starbucks down the street from my house. I have gone in there every day because I'm getting these 3 uninterrupted hours of productivity of work time. And so I go in there, they say my name, you know what I mean? One day I went in there and the gentleman at the counter, he was like, you want a free drink? And I was like, I'll take that one from my husband because it was like some Frappuccino with cookies and all kinds of stuff, not my jam. And I was like, okay, thank you. And so then I did my order. He got my order. I go down to the end and I have this Frappuccino in my hand and I'm waiting for my latte. And I noticed the name on the cup. I was like, they must have got somebody's order wrong. That's what happened. And I was like, okay, well, my husband got his blessing. That's so awesome. So as I'm standing there, the lady next to me, they call for Melissa. And Melissa walks up and grabs her drink. And it looks almost identical to mine. I look at the name on my cup. I was like, you're Melissa. You're the reason my husband gets a free drink today. Thank you so much. She goes, I hope he enjoys it, right? So I leave Starbucks with that drink and mine. I come back to Starbucks the next day. The gentleman says, how'd your husband like his drink? Relationships. Relationships. You know what I'm saying? Relationships. He's building a relationship with me, his customer. They are awesome at it too. I mean, just awesome at it. Okay, you are so right. I was about to finish school and my job decided to offer me a raise and a position change so that they don't lose me. And I thought I was dispensable. You know what? You are not dispensable, y'all. That's such a big deal. Man, that is such a big deal. There are so many times when you are an exceptional employee, I mean, just exceptional, they know it. They don't want to lose you at all. That is a big one. Absolutely. Tanisha, she said, I love Starbucks for that. They have the best customer service, y'all. And you are right. It is intentional and they make it better. Let me tell you, their systems are getting even better. Let me tell you what I mean by that. This is what I mean by their systems are even getting better. When I use my app, which I often do, right? When I go in there, I use my app specifically so I can get my points to get my free drink. Your name is on there. So when I order my stuff, and they take advantage of that now, I mean, in a good way. So when I order my drink, I scan it, I finish it up. The cashier say, Demita, it's going to be ready in a little bit. And they pronounce it right. You better go ahead. And yesterday when I was sitting there, and I'll be there again today, yes. But yesterday when I was sitting there, I ordered my drink. I sat down at the table that I chose. And I was just waiting on it. I'm looking and I'm waiting because I'm going to go over there and get it as soon as they call my name. Before I know it, the young lady is bringing my drink to my table already. It is the building of relationships. Now, let me tell you something. I could switch Starbucks and I can go to a different Starbucks every single day. I could. I changed my mind about that. I am intentional myself. I am intentionally going to the same Starbucks down the street from my house. Why? Because I want to build relationships with just about everybody that I can build relationships with in there. There are people like me who come to that Starbucks every single day. Guess what? We will know each other. There are people that are working there that we will know each other. I'm intentional. Just like Starbucks is intentional, I'm going to be intentional too. All right. So really relationships. And when you're an entrepreneur like myself, especially network marketing, doing coaching, you do have to be intentional about building relationships. Intentional. The wealth community that we currently have, the reason it's so powerful is because we get the opportunity to build relationships around a common interest, which is building wealth. Okay. And so he closes this out. We've really beaten that thing on the head about retirement. He closes out the book by explaining, listen, One last thing before I get to that. He says retirement severs, mutes, and precludes the deep professional connections that you can make. In doing so, that's why it tends to isolate us. Okay. Now, more than anything, isolation destroys our ability to create money and build prosperity. Most people who are retired, see, you're not going to hear me now that I know better. I'm doing better. I remember when I put up a post, because I didn't realize that I had retired before. I never thought about it that way. And technically, I have not, right? And so I remember I put up a post on Facebook one time, like, I didn't know I was retired at 38. That's kind of cool. I'm not retired. I've worked harder on my businesses than I worked on my jobs, okay? And I was a pretty good employee, y'all. And so when you retire and you sever those relationships, guess what it does? It inhibits your ability to continue to build prosperity. That's what it does. Now he goes in, he really wants people to understand money is not a bad thing. And I hope you understand that now that we are on secret number 40. Money is a quantifiable analog for your entire life. Money is the aggregate of your time, your skills, your persistence, your morality, and your ability to build and maintain relationships. Relationships are truly residual. Why? Because as you build relationships, guess what? Those connections, they continue to prosper you and the other person over and over and over. This is my favorite. Money plays a central role in God's plan for creation and human economic interaction by forcing us to live a deliberate, purposeful, calculated life. You have probably been told again and again that money is not the most important thing in life. I love this, y'all. No, it's not the most important thing, but neither is it the least important thing either. Neither is it the least important thing, okay? Now, this is the challenge. We've gone through this entire book. This is a lot. We've learned so much. I know I have, okay? So this is what his final thoughts, the next part of this entire thing is this. You must take this information and move everything that we've learned from this book, from our head to our heart. Remember, it goes from our head to our heart. And the reason you want to do that is so you can employ the tips, you can use the tools, you can use the techniques and the principles that we've actually gone over in the book. Really important. He says, do this and these biblical principles or these biblical secrets will become not only part of what you think and what you know, but also a part of who you are and how you live. Making money will become your calling. Powerful way to end this book. You will integrate your soul and your body, unite your values with your work, and be filled with the delight of serving God's children each minute of your working day. You will know that each and every dollar that flows into your bank account is yet another eloquent witness to the effectiveness with which you served other people. You guys, that is it. We have done it. We have finished. I have to sneeze. Hold on. Excuse me. We have made it through Business Secrets from the Bible. I honestly pray that this book blessed you the way it blessed me. I've learned a lot in here. A lot. So much more. You won't hear me talk about retirement anymore. You just won't hear me do it. Thank you, Sheridan. You just won't hear me do it. I learned so much, from this book, and thank you for hanging out with me. I would love it if you guys share some of the things that, that you picked up, some of your biggest tips, biggest nuggets, because of course, I know you don't remember everything in there, all 40, but what's like the big ones, please do share, because I'm thinking about doing something like this again. I really am. Listen, as we close out for the day, you guys, check it out. We will be doing this book next, as you guys know. 21-Day Financial Fast, Your Path to Financial Peace and Freedom, written by Michelle Singletary. 3 weeks to get your financial house, not necessarily in order, but to get the process started. Y'all, this is about to be So insanely good. Thank you so much. Somebody said, I thank you for all you do. I love watching you live and you're so blessed. Thank you. You are a blessing to me. I appreciate you. And your book came yesterday. She is ready for the fast. Let's go. You guys, we are going to start this on Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday. And I'm really looking forward to this. I'm grateful. Because of this book, we started an additional bank account that's completely separate. I got to check. I don't even know what's in that account right now because we've just been putting money in there. I got to double check that today. I received an email statement. I got to double check it because I should know exactly what's in there. But I've never been able to say before, oh my God, we got money stashed over there and I don't know exactly how much it is. That alone is a blessing for me. Trust me. We've been able to invest as a result. Things that a year ago didn't have that, because this book got us on track. Tanisha said, I was just thinking that. I was wondering, were we going to read it again? Yes. We are starting on Tuesday morning. Why Tuesday instead of Monday? Because the 4th of July is on Sunday. You know what that means? That means that on Monday morning, you're not going to get any good rest. Why? Because they'll be using these fireworks till 2 o'clock in the morning. Let's just accept what's really about to happen. So Monday morning, you're still probably going to be tired from all the fireworks and all the fun that you've had. But Tuesday morning, we are back at it, y'all. And so I want to wish you a beautiful, amazing weekend. Have an incredible 4th of July. If you are cooking, if you are celebrating, have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful 4th of July. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I love y'all to life. Wait. Oh no, Business Secrets of the Bible. No, I didn't intend to do that one again. She was like, no, I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about that one. I'm looking at doing a different book. I thought about a book, you guys, that might be good. I thought about one, but it also might be isolating. And so that's why we probably won't do that one, because not everybody who's on here is African American and Black. So it might be isolating. And that's this one. It's called The Wealth Choice, Success Secrets of Black Millionaires. So it might be isolating. So we're not going to do that as a group, but it might be one I could do with just some of my Black and brown folks at another time. But I'm thinking about what we're going to do next. I got some ideas, but I love doing this and you guys hung in there. So that means you enjoyed it too. You enjoyed it too. All right, y'all. Love you, love you, love you. You, my friend, blessed me because you showed up. Thank you. Y'all have a great weekend. Love you. Bye-bye.